They do come in different sizes. This one is 12-inch. I think it might actually be a little bigger than what's in here, or what should be in here. This failed about 4 years ago. The one that's in, start over. This one failed about 4 years ago, and I replaced it, and now this one has failed. So these aren't the best of quality, but you're kind of limited as to what you can get. It's called a spigot, a hose bib, an outdoor faucet. It's all basically the same thing. You can pick up the new spigot at any hardware store, or Home Depot, Lowe's. This one failed about 4 years ago, and I replaced it, and now this one has failed. So these aren't the best of quality, but you're kind of limited as to what you can get. The first thing you want to do is turn off the water supply. There's a screw right in the front here. Just going to use a Phillips head screwdriver and take that screw out. And the handle, the valve will come right off. Now just verify that the water's off in your house. If you have a line that goes directly to this hose bib on the inside of your house, turn that valve off. I don't have that valve, so I had to turn off the main water valve for the whole house. I'm using a 22mm open-ended wrench. I'm going to put it on this nut where the valve was that we took off. And I'm just using a pair of channel locks to hold the faucet itself. And then we can just unthread it with our hands. Now, this stem, the valve stem, goes all the way in. So we're going to get a pair of pliers and just pull this out. And there we go. If you can see, there's like a rubber washer on the end of this stem that goes all the way into the house. And when you tighten down the valve, this washer gets pushed up against the backing of the hose spigot inside the house, and that shuts off the water, and it prevents water from staying in the pipe. That's why they call it a frost-free, so it doesn't freeze. It'll drain out whatever water's in the pipe, so during the winter it won't freeze and burst the pipe. Now I think what happened over the last few years of usage, the end of this, right before the rubber washer, it's supposed to be squared edges, and it's gotten rounded out. So I think that's why when I tighten the valve, this is not making a good seal. That's why the water's not turning off. Now we're going to go inside the house and disconnect the hose bib from the inside. Now we're inside the house, and the last time I had replaced this, I put a shark bite fitting on the end here, so if I ever had to replace it again, I could just screw it right into this adapter. So we're going to loosen this nut to the hose bib right now. It's a good idea to put a little catch pan or a toweling below this, because you're going to have some residual water that comes out. Now for the inside nut on the hose bib, I'm using a 25mm wrench, and I'm just going to use a pair of channel locks just to hold this adapter so it doesn't spin as I'm turning it. And we are free. And then you can just slide the hose bib right out to the outside. Turn it and pull, and it'll come out. The old one has this nut at the end of it that's welded on. Whereas the new one, it's more recessed and it's kind of flush with the threads on it. So as I was trying to pull out the old one, this nut was getting stuck, so I just kind of turned it as I was pulling and then it came right out. I'm using a 10-inch hose spigot. As I said earlier, they come in different sizes: 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch. So if you are going to measure, you want to measure from not the end of the thread, you want to measure from the end of the nut to the plate. And that'll give you the correct size that you need. So if you take out your old one and you weren't quite sure what size it is, just measure from the end of the nut to the plate, and that'll tell you the size. I'm going to just basically insert that through the hole, and now we're going to go inside and screw it on. Just going to use some plumber's tape, some Teflon tape, and just wrap it around the threads. This will help prevent leaks. Alright, now we're going to screw this on. And once we get it going with our fingers, then we'll use the wrenches to tighten it down. Now to tighten this down, I'm using just channel locks to hold the shark bite fitting. And I'm using a 21mm wrench on the new hose spigot. And I'm just tightening down the bolt on the new spigot. Now it does help if you have a helper that's outside that can tell you when the spigot is facing down in the right position. Otherwise you have to keep running outside to see if it's facing down towards the ground, so you can make the hose connection outside. Don't forget to turn back on the water. Something I'm going to use is clear silicone. It's waterproof. So I'm just going to put that behind the plate here, just so it'll cover up the opening, so it'll prevent drafts inside. Now we're just going to tighten down the faceplate. I'm going to turn this on now and just make sure the water is coming out. And we are good. Just make sure you go back inside the house and just check where it was connected inside, just to make sure there's no leaks, and you should be good to go. I hope this video helped you out. I have videos out every Thursday and Friday at 12 p.m. on home repairs, home maintenance, car repairs, car maintenance. So if you haven't already, you might want to check it out. You can look at my playlist. If this video did help you, I'd appreciate it if you could hit like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.